So if you're doing some business planning and you're wondering if your business is ready for another lead source, maybe you're looking into buying some internet leads, you've come to the right place. I'm going to share a few questions that you need to ask yourself before investing in that expensive venture. Stay tuned. And hey, if we haven't met yet, my name is Stefanie Lugo, and if you're looking to grow your real estate business and have a lot of fun while you're at it, be sure to hit subscribe to this channel and hit that bell notification icon to be notified every week when I'm sharing the latest tips and strategies for real estate and social media marketing. So often in my mentorship program, the Market Authority Academy, I'm asked by my agents whether it's time for them to invest in leads. Maybe they're looking at Zillow leads, maybe they are opening up a great zip code for realtor.com and they want in on it. Whatever it may be, at some point in your real estate journey, you may be faced with this question too. It can be a very expensive mistake if you go too soon, and you could be leaving a lot of money on the table if you wait too long. So I have a couple of questions that you have to ask yourself when you're trying to figure out when the time is right to invest in internet leads. So in the Market Authority Academy, we really talk about this first step a lot. I'm going to dive into it with you here. Number one, before you make any big marketing investments for lead generation, you have to ask yourself if you have maxed out conversion in your existing lead sources. What does this mean? Any healthy real estate business should have minimum 2 to 3 solid lead sources. Now, for most real estate agents, this is going to look like some combination of database and Sphere, referrals, social media, open houses. It might look like some combination of that, maybe with something else unique to your setup. However, you really have to be monitoring your metrics and you have to know whether or not you've maxed out conversion in these areas. More often than not, you actually just need to increase the conversion in your existing lead sources to see massive results before you have to go waste a bunch of money on internet leads. And so here's the target conversion rates that you should be looking at. If you're doing open houses, you want to be hitting between 6 or 7 to 10% conversion on your open house leads. And you need to make sure that you're actually counting your open house leads and monitoring these metrics properly. If you've never monitored your metrics before and you have no idea what I'm talking about, you might want to look at the Market Authority Academy. This is where I can help you dive into exactly how to monitor those systems in your business and keep on top of those things so that you can actually scale the healthy way. If you're looking at Sphere and database, you should be closing around 8% of the contacts that you have. This is not necessarily directly, but that will result in direct, repeat, and referral business from Sphere and database. And if you have a healthy social media presence, you should have the ability to close anywhere between 6 and 12 of those deals a year. If you have a referral source that is a warm channel account, that needs to be anywhere from 15 to 30% of those closed. Now, if you don't know your numbers, again, this is the time to monitor your metrics. You need to pull out your pen and paper, write down every single lead and every single deal that you've done this year and figure out where your numbers actually shake out. If you are meeting these numbers or if you're happy and you feel that you've tapped out these conversion rates here, now we want to go on to the next question. By the way, internet leads, those are going to be around 2 to 5%. So if you already have an internet lead source, make sure you're closing at least 2 to 5% of those before you move on to the next step. Oh, that was like the failest fail of a wink ever. Oh my God, I was like, okay, so after you've figured that out, we're going on to question number 2. Can I afford this? And this is gonna be relatively simple, but the caveat here is, can I afford this for 12 months? Yes, you have to at least invest in a lead source for 12 months before you will have enough data to determine whether or not it was actually effective for your business. But Stefanie, I wanted to try Zillow leads just for a couple of months. It's not going to work that way. The reason for this is most clients are going to have a lead time between 90 and 180 days. This means that any lead you get today, it might take at least 90 days to close that lead, more likely longer. If you're looking at Facebook leads, try 2 years. If you're looking at Google PPC, 8 to 12 months. There's of course going to be a little bit of mix in there. You might get lucky and have a closing right off the bat, But we don't build our business on luck. We build our business on strategy. So do the math, figure out exactly how much it's going to cost you over a 12-month period of time and decide whether or not you can sustain that cost. And then ask yourself, can I share the cost? We can always bring in lender partners as a marketing partner for those costs. See if that's an option for you. See if you have a business partner who might split the cost with you. Look at ways you can get creative to mitigate that financial risk along the way. And then we want to ask ourselves, what is my anticipated ROI? Facebook leads are going to have around a 1.5% to 3% conversion rate. Zillow, they say might be 4.5%. I say plus or minus 1.5%, depending on the agents. Redfin, about the same. Realtor.com, around the same. Google PPC, who knows what that's all over the board, very regional. So figure out what that anticipated ROI, if you're talking to these companies and talking about a lead budget, you should know how many leads to expect. Do the math and figure out what your ROI on those conversion percentages should be and figure out whether or not that is going to make sense for you in the next 12 months. And now if you've figured out whether it's truly time based off your conversion rates and that you can afford to make this investment, we want to ask ourselves one last question. Do I have the systems in place? The systems, that is one of my favorite topics. I talk all about how to systemize your business here in this video. Check that out. But this is going to mean a couple of different things for you when you bring on a lead source. Number one, you have to have a CRM in place if you're going to be generating more than 24 leads a month. I think you have to have a CRM in place if you're going to be generating more than like 2. Because if you're me, if you're anything like me, I'm not going to rely on my janky apps and email inbox to know that I'm on top of all the contacts that I need to be on top of, particularly when we're talking about lead times of 90 days to 180 days and beyond. We're just not that good at follow-up as a species, I believe. And so you have to have a CRM that's going to help automate some of that follow-up for you and stay in front of the people that you're trying to help using technology. If you have never used a CRM before, try it out, okay? Give it a spin for a couple of months, figure it out, and then invest in a lead source so that you are not running 2 steep learning curves at a time, right? Trying to learn a CRM and trying to learn a follow-up cadence for a specific lead source. Speaking of follow-up, the other system you need in place is a killer follow-up system. Now, a lot of lead sources, not all of them, but many that you might explore will have built-in drip campaigns and different ways that you can be following up with your clients. However, you need to go a step further than that because guess what? Drip campaigns have been around for 10 years and conversions only keep getting lower for these lead sources. So it's not going to save you to have a great email sequence set up and automated. You got to go a step further. So figure out how you're going to implement video marketing. Figure out how you're going to send great resources and maybe a branded buyer guide or a branded home seller guide, something that's going to set you apart from the competition when you're getting these leads. Really take some time to determine exactly how you're going to take this lead from A to Z, from totally unknowing to you to the closing table. This needs to be a completely thought out system, and you guessed it, if you need help with that, that's exactly what I help my agents figure out in the Market Authority Academy. We spend a lot of time in this area to make sure that you are keeping those conversions up and maxing out your ROI in every lead source possible. And finally, personnel. When you're increasing your workload with the amount of leads that you're working with, ultimately at some point you need to be able to remove yourself from the equation. You as a real estate agent, if you want to be closing more than 6 figures a year, you cannot be doing the $12 an hour work or the $15 an hour work, wherever you might be at whatever time. So you do need to be understanding the different manpower that you can bring in. Maybe you need to make sure that you can hire an ISA to help you, an internal sales agent. Maybe you need to look into the automated ISAs. There's some great virtual texting tools and subscription services that you can sign up for. Maybe it's time to expand your team and hire a showing agent or a buyer's agent or an assistant, right? We want to start figuring out ways that we can remove work so that when we add this lead source, you have the capacity to actually see it through. And there you have it. Answer those 3 questions and you will be on the right track to investing in your business the smart way. If we're going to be a market authority, we're not going to get caught up with the shiny objects. We're not going to be throwing money around. We're going to be smart business people and investing in our future the right way. So if you're needing a little more help in this area, be sure to check all the tools and resources I have below. I've got a lot of free stuff, including my CRM guide, which is linked below, as well as my latest masterclass, which is going to walk you through some of these principles that we mentioned today. And of course, you can apply anytime for my mentorship at the marketauthorityacademy.com, where I can share exactly how I can help you triple your business this year. I hope you found this so super helpful, and if you did, please leave a comment on this video and share it with somebody who needs it. And in the meantime, thank you so much for tuning in. Until next time, keep on crushing it.